Hey everybody, welcome to What Drives Us, episode 378 for August 5th, 2020. My name is Russell Frost, and I have the pleasure to be your Adventureland tour guide today. Please stay close, ignore the hippos charging the boat. Everything will be fine. I have a gun loaded with blanks.
What?
Was that too obscure a pop culture reference?
Welcome to Disneyland.
Thank
I was thinking
you!
Disney. Yeah, I thought the Disney, the ride.
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
Oh, that's why I didn't get it.
Oh,
I've never been to Disneyland, so yeah.
Is that the
I
one
was
from the
going
Animal
with
Kingdom? Or is that a different one?
oh, Georgia. It's the Jungle Cruise, actually.
Okay.
I actually thought it was a movie
I was going
reference.
with Humphrey.
No.
It could be.
Yeah, I thought it was Humphrey Bogart,
You're
African
right.
Queen.
No, that's a drag movie, isn't it?
I wish.
No,
Come on, that was
you're
funny,
thinking
you
RuPaul.
guys. I tried that.
I laughed, and really, if I laugh, that's really the only important
Thank
one.
you, Georgia. Thank you. So let me introduce this amazing panel, and we can get this show on the road. My wingman, co-host, general all-around, great guy, except for his taste in hockey. And let me just say for the record, for many years of my life, I had a Blackhawks sweater too. So I'm not coming from any higher moral ground here. Mr. Tony Schaefer.
Hey, everybody. Yeah, welcome to this week's show. Welcome to Hockey in August. And yeah, I don't know. That's it.
I
Let's
almost
get going.
every time you say that.
Yeah.
Hockey in August. Okay.
Nothing wrong with that.
There you go.
Doesn't
Right.
exist.
Let's see. She is our friend in Northern California where it, I don't know, is it hot up there today?
Actually, we were a very mild 80-something degrees.
That's
What
very
the hell?
mild. Yeah. So
Nice.
I thought it was mild down
Climate
here.
change.
So we're cheering a mild August for our friend Georgia McKenzie.
How do you all do today, folks? I hope we're all hanging in there. Nothing more. Let's move it on.
That's it. Move. He is the owner and founder and main technician at Boulder Hybrids, and I think he's the car wash and detail guy for the Boulder Hybrid sales division. No,
And the janitor and
the
Tag boy.
janitor, and
Yeah.
so
You are
please,
Lord of all.
if you're on the front range, bring the guy a beer, Mr. Paul Guzik.
yes, and I don't need one tonight, but next time coming. But glad to be back, and I got my local Upslope craft lager.
So
Nice and
let's look
refreshing
that
on a
up.
hot day.
Oh, gotcha.
Upslope, that's the front range right there. That's the picture.
Okay. Our man in the Mid-Atlantic, he's famous for his supercharger overview, Mr. Casey Green.
What's up? So the weather's been nice, and I've been, well, actually a little warm, and I've been inciting arguments about front license plates.
Gay, fomenting confrontation, Casey. Good for you.
Discussion.
And speaking of confrontation, our most confrontational panelist, the man who's always got a punch left for somebody, our friend in Canada, Mr. Mark Coughlin.
Shut up.
Want to be confrontational? I'll give you confrontational.
Can I tell you, I've waited for like 10 years for you to say something like that. I thought it'd be like, shut
You
up.
just had to cue me, Russell. That's all you had to have. All that had to happen right there.
Had to-
Magic happens
This
on
is
the
the
fly.
argumentative call. I believe the confrontational call you're looking for is down the hall.
That's it. This is an argument. It's just
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
See, if Russell can go obscure reference,
Oh my
I can
gosh, here we
obscure
go.
Monty Python.
There's
Monty Python is not obscure.
Who's
I
on
accept
first
that.
Thank
base?
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I
Now
know
that's
that one
obscure.
too. So no, none of those are obscure.
Nice. Just a quick note of business before we start with our first story. Do note, I'm wearing the orange shirt in her honor. Our newest show, Transport Treehouse with Chelsea Sexton, has debuted. We have our first 4 shows up. First, the last 3 shows compromise our infrastructure week. Killer conversations with Kitty Adams from Adopted Charger, Dave Patterson from Chatamo, and Matt Teskey from Chargeway. Tune in, check it out. It's at youtube.com/whatdrivesus. Let us know what you think. If there's somebody you'd like to see on the show, getting battered by Chelsea and I. Okay, mostly Chelsea. Tony's like, I watched the show. There's nobody getting battered. It's great conversation.
Yeah.
Transport Treehouse on the What Drives Us channel. Thank you. First story this week goes to, well, I pretty much have like a 50-50 shot at getting this right because all the stories came from Tony and Casey this week. So let's see if I just blab out. Yeah, okay, it's Tony. Tony, tell us about Rivian.
So we've talked about Rivian in the past, of course, and we've talked about how, you know, they pull out these really cool looking trucks with, you know, one of them, you know, had the pull out kitchen and people out there camping, and the pass through where people were putting like surfboards and skis and things, creating a whole lot of hype. The one thing they're not creating, actual drivable trucks and then SUVs. Their truck, they're calling the R1T, the SUV, they're calling the R1S. People are saying, okay, Rivian, that's enough hype. Why don't you start building these things? Because people are lining up to buy them. Well, they recently announced that, hey, guess what? The R1T is expected to be available for purchase in June 2021. And the R1S expect deliveries in August of 2021. And they are currently doing their, actually, what's it called? The pre-production line, I guess, where they're working out any kinks and things. This is down in Bloomington Normal, in Illinois, Bloomington, Illinois. It's just, what is that, like 50, no, it's more than 50. I don't know, 100 and some odd miles south of Chicago, where I am. So I feel like it's kind of in my backyard. Also, Rivian took over the Mitsubishi iMEV factory that was down there. So there's a huge contingency of EV owners, and being the Midwest, being Central Illinois, a lot of truck drivers who I'm sure are chomping at the bit to get a full electric truck, especially one that's a full electric truck and not just American made, but made in their backyard. We've said many times that an electric truck is going to be huge. Rivian has made some really big promises, 400 miles of range, 180 kilowatt hour pack. And now they're saying that the SUV is expected to seat 7, and both the truck and the SUV will tow 7,000 pounds. So this was the first time they've actually given out a date for production. So I'm just going to throw it out to you all. You know, what do you think?
On the panel, who do you think will get there first, Rivian or Cybertruck?
I was going to ask Rivian or Lordstown.
I'm sorry, Paul, what were you were just...
Question is, who thinks the Cybertruck will be first, or will one of these other companies be first?
Oh, first.
Truck you can buy.
Yeah.
Oh, Rivian looks like it's really ready to go.
Yeah,
It really does.
I got to
Yeah.
go with Rivian here.
Yeah,
I don't know about
I'm
Lordstown.
feeling like it's Rivian. Yeah. Everything else is still 3D renders. This is like,
And
like,
and
hey,
honestly,
we're ready.
I'm kind of in the tank for Rivian.
Yeah, I went up and
I
saw
want
it in New
that
York, and it
pull-out
was
camp kitchen.
impressive. The what?
I want the camp kitchen.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I liked it. I liked it. And then I saw the Cybertruck's kitchen, and I was like, that's more practical. But
Yeah.
the thing with those two is we know those two are going to take over, and even if one's later than the other, because one looks normal and is
Right.
has a less
The people who want
controversial
the free will
CEO.
buy the Cybertruck.
Right.
Mhm.
The question is, will anybody else from GM to Lordstown to everyone else who says they're coming out with an electric truck, will they get anywhere close to Rivian? And then obviously for the new
But didn't
alt truck
GM
market.
say they shelved the Hummer after promoting?
But then they
on
showed
the
pictures
Super
of
Bowl?
it last week. I was confused by that.
But this is GM. You
Yeah.
know, yeah.
They don't know if
So
they're coming.
get used to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I'm and not even secretly, I'm rooting for Rivian. What they've shown of their truck, the ideas, just the way they built it from the ground up. I really believe it. It's going to be a kick-ass truck, getting great mileage. I believe it's something that contractors are going to buy. They're going to realize the lower maintenance costs, the ability to power tools and recharge, drill batteries and generators and things, from the truck. Rivian's even talking about being able to carry auxiliary batteries so that you could charge other electric vehicles, and you could probably run a whole job site right out of the back of your truck. I mean, that's just That's awesome.
Amazing. I like the 80% charge in 15 minutes when using the fast charger. I mean, that for a truck, granted, on the back end, it does look like a boat on wheels, but so many of the features look super cool. And I don't know, I mean, I think it's got a strong contender to go against things like a Ford Ranger in the heavy duty truck range.
Yeah,
And,
as
you
far
know,
as
Well,
features,
I think the average truck is like 60 grand now, right?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh, geez.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Friend
well,
of mine
60
bought
grand of
his.
fluff. It's,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like 25 grand of truck, and then the rest is
Stupid
just,
shit.
you know, add-on fluff and molded
Yeah.
plastic.
As
They
far as
call
features
that profit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
As far as features go, only the Rivian and the Cybertruck seem to have, as either standard or near standard, all the stuff you need for a job site, all the power outputs, the air
Mhm.
outputs, the suspension travel, the ability to go over into water and mud, the four-wheel drive.
Casey, the gear tunnel. The gear
Your
tunnel.
tunnel was awesome. Like I said,
Yeah, the gear tunnel's cool.
Lockable gear tunnel.
Well, the other one is also lockable. But here's the thing: is I spent an entire night in New York, in Manhattan, monopolizing the time of those engineers, and I came away impressed. You can look at my video and listen to my summary on that. But I mean, until I saw the price of the ugly truck, I wasn't even considering anything but the Rivian for my truck.
The ugly truck.
Yeah.
It's not a pretty truck.
Oh,
And
dude, that's so.
The headlights on the Rivian were the only thing I didn't like about the styling. And after I saw them in person, they actually started to
I
grow on
kind
me.
of like it. It's
Yeah.
got the green
Yeah.
of like a friendly Cylon.
Yeah. I also
Yeah.
like
The
the
friendly
I
silence.
also like on the front of the
This is a nature Cylon.
and the rear too of the Rivian. Those two bars,
Yeah.
they will show you how charged you are as you're plugged in, so you don't have to get out and look at it.
See, and I think Paul hit something when he mentioned Ford, because that got me thinking. You know, you have these truck owners who, you know, well, I'm Ford, I'm Chevy, I'm GM, I'm Dodge, you know, they're brand loyal, and no way in hell are they going to buy another brand, even if it's an improvement of what they're driving right now. But Rivian's
Yeah.
new, so if somebody wants to jump on Rivian, they're not, you know, they're not.
They're not going to the traditional
defying or
competition.
anything.
Right. They're not defecting.
Yeah, that's it. Okay. They're defecting. Thank you. That's exactly what I was thinking. So yeah, you can go to Rivian because Rivian's new. And you know, it's not like, oh, you sold out Ford and you went to
Join the
Chevy.
enemies. How
No,
dare you?
I went to Rivian. Yeah.
But then on the other end of that is Ford delayed or canceled their. I heard about Lincoln, but I didn't realize that the Ford Rivian vehicle had been put on the shelf with the current situation.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and keep in mind the Amazon Rivian connection as well.
Oh, that's on hold
Oh,
too?
really?
No, I don't think it's on hold,
No.
but I mean,
Oh,
that's
okay.
Just keep that in mind. Yeah.
another place
that's
where you're probably
another-
going to start seeing, once those things actually hit production, you'll probably start seeing some
Well,
of
they
those
could
pop up there.
slap a step van body on it, and there's your prime delivery vehicle.
So are we
Yeah,
going to see those
exactly.
before we see the consumer vehicle, or are they going to come out kind of around the same time?
How much money did Bezos put into that company?
I don't know.
A lot.
Oh, yeah.
And
It was probably a
how
sneeze for
many-
him. Like he
How
wiped his
many
handkerchief for
vans
that.
have they,
Mhm.
traditional vans have they bought? I mean, I see them all over now, the
Mhm.
Amazon
Yeah.
vans.
Yeah, I don't know. It certainly is good advertising, right? To have your van
Yeah.
out there 12 hours a day or more making deliveries.
Yeah.
So,
Except for your
and
tractor trailer
obviously
has run me off the road.
Bezos is interested in not only bringing his costs down, but also advertising the company that he partially owns.
Yeah.
Right.
Allegedly. No, he
Allegedly.
does. Okay, enough of that. Well, speaking of new EVs, well, sort of. This is sort of a little bit of sleight of hand that Casey has from Mazda.
So I was going to say how long ago we were talking about this, but time has no meaning anymore. So a while ago, we were talking about about a new Mazda, and we were all wondering why the range was so low. And Mazda gave us some BS about, oh, it's a smaller battery to save the environment or some crap like that. Turns out that this car is actually a cross-platform vehicle. So it's a plug-in hybrid, it's a gas car, it's an electric car. And so there's only so much space for the battery. So we're talking about the Mazda MX-30. It's not a ground-up EV like they promised us.
Mazda not communicating clearly about their intentions? That just totally sounds like them.
I just want to
It's
hear Mark
because
say
they couldn't
Mazda.
get the batteries to spin in a circular
Yes, rotary batteries.
rotary battery. It just
The
threw them
Wankel
off.
You would think that
battery.
the rotary motor would be perfect for them.
Yeah. And sadly, the rotary motor is a good generator.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Didn't they show us the hybrid
yeah.
a concept of that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they did.
And-
And you know, a rotary battery spins really well as long as you don't have to gear it or anything. You put it in its sweet spot, and it's a really good generator.
Yeah,
But they promised an EV.
they did. And then they hoodwinked us.
Yes, bait and switch. Bastards.
Zoom, zoom.
I mean, it makes sense for them, but it would have been cooler to see them actually have made the hybrid out of the EV rather than make the hybrid and the EV out of the gas car and lie about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, there. So it wasn't a bait and switch?
It was, because they
Okay.
No, it
straight up
was.
said this is an electric car, and then come to find out it's not.
It's not.
And then come to find out it was a Chevy Volt.
Yeah, exactly.
Which was introduced how many years ago? Yeah.
Wow.
It's a-
I
10
mean,
now.
they're pretty small companies in the scope of car
They are.
companies, so they
Yeah.
don't have the resources. And with the crazy market we're in, they probably said, "Well, let's kind of do something we're kind of more familiar with."
But I mean, a
Sad.
little bit of, if they were upfront about it, I'm sure nobody would have complained about it.
Yeah.
And now they've got all this negative press.
I mean, boy, how do I say this? I'm not going to bother. Let's talk about another story. Let's go to back to Tony. Oh, that's right. Ping pong. Casey, Tony,
Yep.
Casey, Tony.
Yeah.
Let's go back to Tony. Talk about how to improve our roads.
I have over the years seen many articles talking about making more sustainable roads. And I mean, we drive on these things and, you know, you always see the roads being improved and, you know, being torn up and, you know, whatever, and potholes are the bane of Chicago drivers. And there's always one approach or another that says, oh, this is going to make the roads better. And, you know, so I found an article in sciencealert.com coming out of Australia that the engineers are now using old tires to make a better substrate for roads. So what they found was if they chop up these used tires to very small particles. And it turns out they use a 0.5% fine crumb rubber and 99.5% recycled concrete. I forgot, RCA, recycled concrete aggregate. And basically the rubber is taking the place of what they call virgin sand. You know, so they go out and they get brand new stuff to put in the roads. Well, now they're saying, well, let's just chop up rubber from tires and use that instead. And the good news is the rubber gives it a sense of elasticity. It makes it better able to expand and contract with temperatures and different things, which as a substrate, and then you put the asphalt on top of it, means that the asphalt is less likely to crack. And maybe not so much in Australia, but in many other parts of the world, cracks lead to freeze and thaw. Freeze and thaw leads to potholes. Potholes lead to, you know, taking your car to Paul because you have to fix the axle.
Blown tires, bent wheels.
Exactly. So basically, you know, the nice thing here is that they are keeping tires out of landfills. Do you guys know, did you know that waste tires are usually put in landfills or incinerated? They straight up just burn
There's a
them.
big pile behind Springfield on fire
Yes, that is true.
For like
Yes.
20 years.
for 30 years now.
For 30
Yes.
years. Yes. Yeah.
Wow, that's
So-
And that's too close to reality to even be funny. Okay.
Oh my
'Cause,
gosh. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that we run our fossil fuel cars on roads made basically of fossil fuels.
Mm-hmm.
right.
You know, it's
I was
like,
watching.
And there is a shit ton of tires that need to be recycled every year. So
That's for
Yeah.
sure.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. Hold on, let me.
So while you look
Wait.
that up, I was
Yeah.
watching an engineering video on asphalt concrete, and they went on to explain that if you don't put in tires into the mix and other chemicals as well, when it gets too cold, the road will crack. But if it gets too hot, the road will become more flexible, so you get ruts. And he was explaining that the asphalt concrete is actually our most recycled material on the planet. Because it doesn't actually change formula. You just heat it up and it becomes malleable, and then when it cools down, it becomes what we expect. And he was also talking about not on the substrate. He was talking about tires in the concrete itself, in the asphalt.
Yeah.
And so when you get the cracks, it can affect the substrate, and then once the substrate is destroyed, you need to redo the whole road rather than just resurfacing or putting down more of the surface.
So more than 1 billion scrap tires globally per year.
I've got 4 today.
That's horrifying.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Has anybody ever been to these synthetic turf fields that use ground up tires in them?
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you ever smelled what that's like when it gets to be about 85, 90 degrees?
Yeah.
Ooh.
You smell, the whole field smells like a tire factory. So I'm just going to imagine that our roads could soon smell like the tire department at Costco.
but if it cuts down
Well,
on
I got to
the
be honest, they
potholes
already
and the
do smell
maintenance,
like that.
They do. And with the right additives, this elasticity will help, 1, make them cheaper, 2, make them last longer, and then 3, because tires already have to operate in that extreme cold and extreme heat without melting or falling off your tires, off your car.
Yeah.
This could impart some of that.
And if the road gets hot enough, like in Australia, it might actually retread your tire while you're driving. So see, there's benefits.
There you go.
There you go.
That's all I got. I got nothing else. Well, yay. I mean, if that's a good thing, we're helping those billion tires not end up in a burning pile behind Springfield, that would be a good thing.
Yeah.
Speaking of a good thing, this week we're debuting a new feature featuring our friend Mark Coughlin. We're calling this feature This Week in Tesla. And I'm gonna, you know what? You guys are all so smart. You're gonna figure out exactly what's going on here. I'm not gonna spoil the surprise more. Mark?
Should I wait for the segment music to start before I go?
Oh, you know what?
Yeah,
We didn't
hold your
talk about
breath.
segment music,
What?
did we?
Didn't commission any.
Man,
Oh, man.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and all
that's
the boats at
great.
sea.
That's fabulous.
Hello to all
Okay.
the men and women fighting Hitler's.
We're going to run through a bunch of headlines that we debuted this week on the Tesla Life. If you're looking for more information on these stories, certainly you can tune into our show. TTL 160 debuted just about an hour ago, so it's already up on YouTube if you want to hear some more and some more commentary. But we're going to keep it right to basically the headlines and a few sentences after that. This week in Tesla, we have found out that Tesla and PG&E of California are now beginning construction of their Moss Landing, California project. 730 megawatts of battery storage power that will be being used to level the grid in that area of California. A small beach town. I heard from Derek. Thanks very much, Derek, who knows Moss Landing personally.
Right.
So soon to be more batteries than people because it's just a small beach town, about 250 people. And this large particular grouping of batteries is going to be sucking up solar and wind power and helping to flatten out the peaks and valleys of the grid. So great news there. Second story, Panasonic leaks this week that Tesla batteries, yes, specifically Tesla batteries, are going to get about a 20% boost in density in those batteries over the next 5 years. This is a little bit unusual because Panasonic typically says nothing about Tesla batteries at all. They'll talk about their batteries, they'll talk about batteries in general, but they never really mention Tesla. So it's interesting that they've come out with this. And of course, 5%, or I'm sorry, 20% over 5 years, it's about, 4% a year. So that's really not news. It's something that's expected from the battery, gaining density, but it was interesting, the source. Next, Tesla has indicated that they're going to be adding some new visualizations to the Tesla center screen. If you don't already know, in a Tesla car when you're driving, the visualization screen shows you the other cars around you as you're driving. And those cars look like just black and white blips of exterior cars, some different shapes. Obviously, there's cars, there's trucks, there's semis. But what's new about this is that Tesla's going to start recognizing other Teslas and throwing the actual color of that car into the visualization screen. So as you're driving by that nice orange Roadster, it's going to show up on your screen, shaped as the Roadster with the right color. So this may also lead to a couple games they had indicated. So that's kind of a cool feature that will be coming soon in an update to your Tesla. Next, Tesla released their report with the autopilot safety report for Q2. And year over year, they had gains, better safety report. But really, looking at this, we're just gone through a pandemic, people. Half the people aren't driving anyways. So really, the numbers compared to last quarter don't really make a lot of sense because half the population wasn't driving to work anyways. But what this is doing in the background is Tesla is collecting this information, displaying it, because eventually they're going to want to go to regulators and say, here's the proof that self-driving cars are safer than humans. They're collecting this every quarter. They're reporting on it. They're drilling it into our heads that it's safer, it's safer, it's safer. It's going to be part of their case, mark my words, for self-driving when regulators are coming to look at whether or not it's safe to release self-driving on the public. Next, Tesla, of course, no surprise, second quarter did a bang up business. It was surprising that they were able to get to the point of a profit last quarter. And one of the contributing factors to that has been their online ordering system. Musk had talked specifically about being able to order a car anywhere you want, being able to look up stats, show friends, bring it up on the TV, bring it up on a handheld device while you're on a walk, when you're at work. Anytime the mood strikes you, you can go in and take a look at variable amounts of information of what you want and order a car. So again, common sense, but giving people the ability to get there and use it. Just the more opportunity, the better. Next, Tesla had also indicated, Elon himself, for a second time, went out of his way to indicate that, yes, they would be willing to help other automakers with batteries, with software, with technology. They would be willing to sell their technology or lease it or some sort of revenue share with other automakers. Elon had made the point that they're not looking to crush competition. They're looking to push the world to electrified vehicles. And anything they can do to help, they are willing to do that, even selling their own technology to a competitor. So that was kind of an interesting statement. And of course, we've seen this in the past. Tesla's done work for other automakers previously, and this is another piece of that puzzle. Around the Fremont factory this week, it was noticed that some production models of a rear-wheel drive Model Y long range have begun to show up. So Tesla, of course, recently put the kibosh on the short-range Model Y, indicating it was just not enough range for them. But they did indicate that the cheaper single version rear-wheel drive long-range vehicle would be sold. And it's been noticed that a few test runs of those vehicles have appeared in Fremont. So it looks like those should be coming soon to a Tesla store near you if you've ordered one. So that is something to keep your eye on. Another thing about Tesla, of course, is its recently expanding factories. Tesla Austin is is really on fire with the amount of ground equipment that's moving things around on site. The actual entire site is quite large if you've seen it compared to other Tesla sites, but they are moving a bunch of earth around, getting it prepared for the beginning of the building phase, digging holes, getting ready for infrastructure, getting roads in place, pushing mounds of dirt, leveling out the ground. There's a whole bunch of activity that's happening, and it's shocking to see the transformation that's only happened in a week and a bit. So this is something that's been pushed into overdrive recently. And also on another note, the other factory they're being worked on right now, besides Shanghai, is Berlin. We all kind of scoffed at Berlin about the claims that it could be put up faster than Shanghai. Us watching Shanghai happen in a year, it's a bit of a, we didn't think that was even possible. But what's happening in Germany that was not happening in Shanghai was prefabrication work. Germany is building all the parts for the factory off-site, shipping it by truck and train for just-in-time delivery so they can put the pieces together and have less equipment on the site. Germany is starting to take off. The actual site now has a number of beams in place and roof trusses, and the main building is actually 3 stories tall in some spots. So Germany is taking off, and our surprise is that it may rival the speed of Shanghai, but that remains to be seen. But it's looking good at this point. And finally, the last story is that Tesla, although happy with its online sales and its ability to order, they're not stopping with the retail stores. In fact, retail stores have been being added to, and staff is being added to the stores recently through job postings found on the Tesla website. So more and more staff are being hired to be put into stores, and those stores are now continuing to open in retail outlets across the United States and the world, for that fact. But it's good to see that Tesla did not go through on their original, not original, but their afterthought of maybe we should shut down all the stores to make the cars cheaper. This probably is the wiser choice, allowing people to be able to go in, touch, feel, sit down, go for a test drive, all at a store that is Tesla driven and Tesla unique. So we feel it's a good idea, and the stores are, I'm happy to say, are continuing to grow. If you like these stories and would like to hear some more, again, visit us at the Tesla Life and subscribe and take a look at TTL 160, which is now on YouTube.
And
Thanks very much.
If you see the little circle I in the upper right corner, which I forget which way is right, that link will take you to the Tesla Life. Go ahead and click it and check out all the episodes.
Thank you very much.
One of those corners doesn't.
Can you tell I've had practice doing this?
Follow the Tesla Life at the Tesla Life on Twitter to get links to the show and news updates and all of that. And of course, you can see Mark here every week.
Right here.
What drives us?
Yes.
Because we had him first. Okay, we had him first. Just want to be clear about that.
And they're still trying to lose
Don't
me.
be so possessive.
Mhm.
I'm feeling very territorial right now.
Look out.
Mark, he's going to pee on you.
Exactly.
Oh my
It's about time to mark some territory.
And that is one of the benefits of being on Zoom.
Exactly. That is social distancing right there.
He'll send a robot with a baggie.
That's it. Well, let's see. So our next story, let's go for an exciting secret look with Casey Green.
Speaking of robots, it's been spotted that the Boring Company has been digging kind of in between LA and Las Vegas. So the thought is that they're going to connect this up with the Las Vegas loop. And so what that will do is it'll allow vehicles to travel at 158 miles an hour. So in between LA and the Vegas loop, in theory, allegedly.
That is a long way.
It is a long
It really
way.
is. That really is a long way.
Does anybody know where Adelanto is? because I do. I can tell you.
I saw it on a map once. When the article
So we're
came
talking
across.
about 300 miles between LA and Vegas, roughly.
Mhm.
We're talking Adelanto is just next to Victorville. It's about 100 miles outside of Vegas, or 100
Right.
miles outside of Los Angeles. About 200 miles
Right.
from Vegas.
Yeah.
What's the longest tunnel that the Boring Company has completed to date?
The LA Loop.
And that was 0.7 of a mile.
Something like that times 2.
Took them how long?
A little while.
That sounded like a vague answer.
All I'm going
Well,
to
just
say,
like the vague
Months.
musings on this
there's 2
tunnel.
words for this. Stock pump.
But Musk hasn't brought it up. So this was people who
Oh,
found
right,
it.
right. It was
It
a
was a controlled leak.
Yeah, yeah.
It was a leak.
Right.
Not like
A
that
leaky
Panasonic.
tunnel.
Yeah.
Yes. So
I will
in-
admit, I have no idea what they're doing in Victorville,
yeah.
but connecting
wait.
LA to Vegas,
I mean, that's billions of dollars.
Oh yeah, it's definitely gonna be billions. But if it is that, as it is alleged, then that would save you having to go deal with the airport to get between LA and Vegas. And somebody did the math in the comments, and it came out to be, what is it, a $50 savings over the airplane?
And man, would Tesloop be pissed if
Yes.
that actually happened.
Or would they love it because they can pay that fee? You ride with them, and then you have to own your own Tesla to ride the loop, and you can get rid of all that traffic.
I say that.
Tesloop will love it.
I say to be
still
upset.
not going to happen. It's like,
I
where are we gonna put
am
this
going to
equip-
put this with, hey, we can make a delicious fat and sugar-free chocolate. This concept.
Speaking of this week in
So-
Cheesecake
miracles,
will be fabulous, and sugar.
Okay. So I've got a couple truth bombs I want to drop
Okay.
here.
uh-oh.
Yeah.
First and foremost, it would be, yes, 224.66 miles from
Okay.
LA to Vegas. The longest tunnel. Does anyone want to guess what the
Wait,
longest
224
tunnel,
miles between LA and Vegas?
266.
If you go straight.
according to the article?
Oh,
So
okay, right. If you're
Yeah.
flying, okay.
So
yeah. Well, if you're
Or you tunnel
underground, you might as well
straight.
get
okay, so
right.
the question on the table right now is, what is the longest tunnel? And this appears to be
6
in
miles.
the world. How many miles?
18
38.
miles.
No.
It's a channel?
Okay, a little more than 18.
20.
It is the Delaware Aqueduct that was.
Oh, I thought you meant traffic tunnel.
It was. No. This is just
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 a tunnel.
a tunnel. This is just any
Okay.
tunnel. It took 6 years from 1939 to 1945. It's an aqueduct, and it is a grand total of 85.1 miles. It took 6 years. Now, maybe the Boring Company's bores are considerably faster, and they could do something that is 4 times the length in less than 4 times the time. But 224 miles is a very long tunnel. And are they going to verify your state of charge before you get in this tunnel?
Yeah, because I can
Yeah,
imagine
if
they
you
only
run
have.
out, you're going to piss off everybody behind you.
Yeah, I can imagine they only have.
Oh, you're not going to piss them off. You're just going to
Just
straight up.
random. So I imagine that they'll have either 3 or 4 tunnels instead of 2 because of these situations. Like if something happens, you don't want to snarl up all of that.
Okay, and so they better have simultaneous boring. They better come at it from both sides. They better have all this, because if it took 6 years to do 80
Yeah.
miles, it's going to take decades to do
And
200.
who's going to pay for the tunnel?
Mooring company will pay for it, and then they'll charge you a toll.
So
So
they'll just sell another bunch of hats. They'll be good.
yeah, more hats, more
Right,
flame,
right.
not a flamethrowers. But
Not
see,
a
short
flamethrower.
shorts.
Yeah, exactly.
their
Huge
their
profit
goal
in
their
that.
goal is continuous bore. So does this mean they're getting close? If what they allege is correct, because
And then
You don't
what
wanna have to
about
stop
right
and-
away? It's like, whose land are they going to tunnel under, and who's going to pay for that land rights?
so the question then with the tunnels is it the same way with the air? Once you go to a certain depth, it doesn't matter anymore.
Conundrum.
Yeah. Probably.
Was it
not.
500 feet for air? What is it for underground? Does it exist yet?
I'm sure
Oh,
it
I'm sure
does.
there's
Probably not.
something
I'm sure
with,
that's
with
come
regard to
up.
mineral rights.
Yeah,
But let's be clear, the Boring Company doesn't drill half a mile down
not yet.
to run their horizontal tunnels. Okay,
Right.
nobody
Right.
does.
Nobody.
It's,
Well, you heard it here first,
Mining companies
folks.
do.
It is a partnership with the lizard people from Hollow Earth who will bring the technology up to help Elon Musk create a 200 and whatever the fuck link tunnel. So people in Las Vegas.
Well,
no, people in
we
Los
have
Angeles
two
can go to
reporters in
Vegas.
California. Who's closest to Victoriaville?
Could be Russell.
There you go.
Okay, so
This is
Russell,
the-
you need to go out to that hole and find out what's going on. Interview some people.
pick
Figure
up
out
the
what's
shovel.
going on.
This
Yeah.
wasn't to be released on April 1st, and it got
yeah, exactly.
So
this is a
Where are you
draft.
guys going with that hole? That's my
I mean, I
journalism.
can understand tunneling under Barstow, California, because it's a shithole already.
Yeah.
Hey.
Well, wait. What do you got about Barstow? It is a shithole.
It's
Wait,
like the
literally
meth
with all the
capital
cows,
of
right?
California.
Although I did actually register one of my vehicles in Barstow. That's a long story that we're not going to get into.
While you were buying
So-
some meth.
I
Jeez.
bought a motorcycle in Las Vegas and I registered in Barstow on the way back to California because the Barstow
The
DMV
first DMV.
was literally like a trailer and there was no one there. So it was like an invitation.
Yeah.
I thank you guys not to mock our I-5 corridor culture of meth in trailers.
Well, Barstow's not on I-5.
No, Barstow's on 15.
Yeah, but it's like it
The same
spreads
thing.
out.
Yeah.
It's a giver.
Yeah.
It disperses into the ether.
So the big news about the continuous bore is that right now, every boring company in the world, right now, they bore for a minute and then they stop and then they seal up their tunnel. And then they go and they bore for a minute and they seal up. And some of them even have another phase in the middle where they take the dirt out. Some of them seal and take the dirt out at the same time. So this, if it's alleged as the story is written, would be a world first.
Well, we'll see what happens. We'll
See
see if they
something.
can do it. Clearly, it's a test for something, and they just went out in the middle of nowhere to do it, and cheers to them.
Hoping none of us would find it and then.
Yeah, I think
well.
the idea that it's a connecting tunnel between LA and Vegas is,
Might be a bit
Like-
far-fetched.
yeah, why didn't somebody just go, you know what, that's just stupid. I'm not going to write that. I'm
It's
not
the
gonna-
Barstow
I know
loop.
that when
They wanted to test the tunnel technology, and the land prices there are like zero. So they said, let's do it here where there's
Yeah.
the land is free.
Well, and it's closer to Hawthorne than,
Mhm.
you know, so it's
Vegas.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
in 40 years, when I'm on my deathbed, I'm going to say, one, I wish I'd have worked more, because they say no one ever says that, and I'm going to do it just to piss them off. And two, has Elon
You're
finished
such a
his tunnel
dork.
yet? Yes.
That's beautiful.
Oh, I found the guy's pricing. No, go ahead. It's not important.
Okay.
It's gonna be Elon's head in a jar.
So our next story, Tony's going to talk about the next place I'm going to live.
Unlike last week's modular van down by the river, this is a really cool electric travel van from a company called Ready.Set.Van, and that's Ready.Set.Van. And they have been building electric vans for off-grid living for quite some time. And their latest van is, for not for lack of a better word, I mean, it's the best word, spectacular. Very, very nice. And
Is it real or a rendering?
no, it
looks real.
yeah, it's very real. And it's very European, if you will. On the outside, it looks like a standard van. And on the inside, it's very simplistic, very straight lines with wood trim, a wood floor. Well,
Does it
it's
have
a floor
IKEA
that
names
looks
like-
wooden.
Get off
and
the Hallberg.
Yeah.
What's great is that they're actually using Tesla batteries for this. And I'm not exactly sure how that comes about, which is really kind of weird. They just sort of skim over that, how they're using Tesla battery modules.
Well, there's enough wrecked
come-
ones that they could probably do that.
Yeah, maybe. They come in multiple sizes. There's 420 amp hours, 840 amp hours, 1260. And they're basing this on how long you can run the air conditioner. But there's no mention in here about range, which is kind of interesting to me.
Like, because I think you're
Well,
just
the
supposed to
range
get
is the
to
gas
the river.
engine.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, Paul.
Well, there's not even a mention of a gas engine. I mean, no, it's actually pitched as an all electric. So I mean, that's the thing. It's pitched as all
Unless you
electric.
have a
and don't-
gargantuan battery, it's not feasible to push an RV around with electricity very far. And the whole
So I
point of an
went
RV is
sniffing-
to go far away.
There
Yeah,
are
and I even
several
went-
cargo vans like this out there today. There's one by Change, Sprinter's got one, and then a bunch of conversion.
Yeah,
they are
but
all around
maybe
100 mile range.
200 mile range,
Mhm,
which
Mhm.
doesn't get you to the other side of Colorado.
right.
No, yeah, truly doesn't.
But maybe
I
with
went-
their
I went,
Tesla batteries,
Gets you to the weekend lake, maybe.
So
Yeah.
what they've
Yeah.
done, what you're thinking, Paul, is that they've got a gas ram and they've added like a couple of Tesla power walls under the floor
For
to
the
run
camping stuff.
the amenities.
they could do that
It's an
too.
interesting idea.
It is. I went to their website and I was sniffing around on the website looking for details. There's no mention of anything
Yeah.
like that. There's nothing.
Have they sold any? Could we-
Powertrain?
Go bug the owner.
Interesting. Ultimate off the
Something
grid
smells
experience.
fishy.
It looks
Like,
like,
they
and
don't
you-
talk about the size of the motor or the drive system. Is it front drive, rear
No,
drive?
I literally couldn't find anything on their website about
No
any
idea.
of that.
I mean, the ProMaster van's a nice van. It's not bad to
Yeah.
drive. I've driven one. And this thing's gorgeous. I just, yeah, it would be, if it's a gas truck with electric, with an electric stove or something, that's not that impressive, is it?
Right.
Darn it.
Well,
It's-
it's
it's-
cool to use like Tesla batteries to run your camping stuff, and then maybe have solar panels to top them up.
Mhm.
But, lots of people are doing stuff like that already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm curious because it says it's got 400 watts of solar. And is that enough to charge a battery? So yeah, there's a lot of
It's
questions
enough
going
to
on
run your
here.
camping gear, but not to push the vehicle.
Yeah.
now. And
But you
also
stop
that
for a long
composting
time.
toilet right next to the bed is
Ooh.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting.
Okay. I know I'm going to get some email on this, so forgive me, but I'm sorry. That phrase composting toilet pretty much just bums me out no matter what.
you can either have a portable or you can have a composting,
I-
and I'm gonna just have to say that's a no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is weird because in the pictures here, they're parked right next to a stream. And I mean,
Sir,
there you go.
no,
Wow.
no.
Wow. There's 1, 2, 3 modules.
Yeah.
5,200 watts.
But the
They-
wooden floors are gorgeous.
I'm not.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a pretty van.
Wait, 3 Tesla modules?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's only enough for accessories. The only other
Yeah.
person I've heard of that uses Tesla modules in their RV, they've got
It's a
1
gas
or 2
camper.
modules, and they
Yeah.
use it for everything else.
Yeah. This is a
solar
gas
recharges that.
van.
Yeah,
Gotta be.
They just
Wow.
put
but theirs is much
Tesla
bigger.
in
This
the
is a
headline
bus.
to get clickbait.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's
Wow.
curious
Well-
that they're still claiming that it's electric. I think they mean
Yeah.
Well,
powered.
the heater's electric, the microwave's electric, the
That
television's
must be it.
electric.
Just the fact that you can turn the engine off. But again, I mean, I'm on their website right now and I'm looking and I'm really
Yeah.
scrutinizing for specs, and there is no mention anywhere of powertrain that I
Yeah,
They
can
sell
find.
more that way.
Is there a
Yeah.
fuel door on the outside of the vehicle?
on the
don't
ProMaster, it's that
see
little
it.
sill between the driver and the
Right.
what would be the
Yeah.
other side?
It's
The B pillar?
on the other side of the car.
At the bottom of the V pillar.
Yeah, I'm looking for
wonder.
exhaust pipes or anything, and
They've
they must be
hidden.
really good at hiding it.
Photoshop's really, really not that hard to use. Nonetheless, hey, I mean, cheers to at least partially electrifying it, and if it's a step in the right direction. And it may not be my next house, but it could be. It
They're,
could be.
they're relatively inexpensive for having a camper van.
That's the part that really confuses me is how they're selling this at a starting price of $35,000. That's like,
Yeah.
There's no way. That's
Supply
the
your own
upfitting
interior.
charge.
I'm sorry?
Supply your own
35K
interior.
would be the conversion cost on top of the vehicle.
That would make
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would
And-
So they're
make
and-
saying,
sense.
what they're really saying is, bring us your gas-powered ProMaster. We'll make this cool camper out of it that uses some Tesla batteries for storage, and it will be 35 grand.
Okay.
But the Tesla batteries themselves are rather expensive from the wrecked cars.
Well,
I can't even imagine.
Well, look closely. The battery is spelled with T-E-Z-L-A.
But if they're coming from the smart electric, those are still Tesla batteries, and they cost a lot less.
Oh, it's Tesla with a Z.
That's
See,
right.
That's
Tesla.
what threw me off. It's
Yeah.
Tesla.
Tesla.
batteries, you're right.
Well, for our final story this week, we're going to go to Paul, who has a story about fossil fuel.
yeah, I mean, I hope this is true, and maybe big oil, big gas is getting with the program, but BP announced that their sales are in the shitter this year, to put it politely. But
Next to the bed.
they actually admit that they expect demand for fossil fuels to fall 75% over the next 30 years. So they're getting ahead of the game and investing in clean technologies, which is impressive if it happens, because, you know, if they really step back and say, hey, we're an energy company and the writing's on the wall, fossil fuels are bad and they're, you know, there's going to be displaced by electric transportation. Let's figure out how to play in that sandbox. So the article goes on, and I guess we can link to it, but you know, it's pretty significant. I mean, like the big oil is saying, hey, let's get into alternative energy. And they want to do, let's see, oil and gas production will fall by 1 million barrels a day in 2030, which is a 40% reduction of 2019 levels. You know, they'll still be making money in the short term, but they're planning for the future. They're going to invest in new low carbon technologies. So good for BP. Let's hope Exxon and Mobil and all the other guys start doing similar things.
So do we think that they survive long enough to make the transition? A lot of incumbents don't survive the transition.
Well,
And,
they've certainly taken enough of our money so they can
Yeah.
survive.
from us directly and the governments of the world.
Right.
And I mean, they could start
Far
small.
too
They can
much.
start by putting charging stations in their gas stations, you know, that they have around the world. Start by investing in solar companies, wind companies, battery companies. You know, they do have, I'm sure they've got a bunch of money sacked away somewhere for investing for events like this year. And
Yeah.
let's hope they make some smart decisions.
An interesting point that somebody called out is that their idea of green also includes hydrogen, and not even green sourced hydrogen, hydrogen from natural gas.
Yeah, and
Nice.
that's the way they could leverage some of their existing infrastructure. But we all know hydrogen doesn't make sense.
Not yet.
Or most,
No.
not, yeah.
Probably never,
Not
but
quite yet.
Well,
But not at
oh,
the
and
moment.
it's going to say they cut their dividend 50% to save some cash. So,
I'm sure that annoyed a few people.
yeah.
Yeah. Those
although one of their
stockholder
executives' names is literally Looney, so maybe
Oh,
he's
man.
His
just
brother
talking
Toonie.
Looney
Looney
Tooney. Yeah.
people. That's all we
Anyway,
got for this.
it's yeah. I think it's a cool idea. Let's hope that it happens.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you very much. And yeah, we do hope. Wouldn't it be nice if the evil players suddenly started supporting nice things?
They'll find a way to dirty it up. Don't worry.
Yeah,
Of course.
they'll find a way to wreck it. Yeah. Oh, I have faith.
Yep.
70, 80 years of experience. Okay. Hey, let's do some shout outs and go home. I'm going to start with Mark Coughlin.
I would like to ask you, if you haven't already, please give us a thumbs up in the video. That helps us out. And if you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for?
Yeah,
Subscribe and support the channel. That would be very much appreciated. And we would enjoy you. We really, if you've enjoyed this video, there's more coming. So subscribe today.
Oh, I don't think you've enjoyed this. I mean, you maybe tolerated it.
If you've tolerated this video this long, reward
Thanks.
yourself and subscribe.
Thanks to all of you who have tolerated this video.
Just hoping somebody fell asleep and forgot to turn it off. I think that's the best I can hope for.
I love when they
Oh,
watch
thanks.
all the way to the end. Isn't that gratifying?
Yeah.
Georgia McKenzie, any shout outs this week?
I'm just going to shout it out to everybody still hanging tough with everything here, and also to the e-bussy, which is still my favorite of the electric van by the river category, because I was thinking the base camper might work, but no, I want the e-bussy. I'm going to go with that one.
There you go.
So I Googled e-bussy and it direct linked me to Fleshlight. I'm not exactly sure.
Don't. Why?
So much why.
Boy,
I
that
told you
marketing
not to do it.
department
This is
is
a
sitting
family
around
show.
going, why did we pick
Exactly.
this?
No, it's not.
Do not put e-bussy in Urban Dictionary, okay? We are telling you not to do that.
Go Google that bussy
Okay.
thing.
Even if we did a
Well,
story on
it's like the classic tale that when GM came up with the Nova and wondered why it wasn't selling in Latin America, because it kind of meant won't go.
Yeah.
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 Or Coca-Cola sounds
buy a
like,
car called
what was
Won't
it?
Go.
Like Toad.
Nice. Casey Green, got some shout outs, my man?
I sure do. So I was speaking about the riling people up about the front plates. You can catch that in my video over at youtube.com/KCGreen. That's KACEYGREEN. And everybody's been talking about it in social media. Maybe if you could comment in the video below it, and we can continue the discussion there. What kicked it off was I got a verbal warning for not having a front license plate, and I had to find a way to fix the plate to the car without damaging the paint. Otherwise, I would have also been damaged myself by the wife, because she said, don't break her car.
But legally, the vehicle has to have some way to affix a front plate on it.
It does, and for the Model X, is the only Tesla currently on sale that doesn't have an adhesive method. It literally drills through the bumper, through the paint.
So,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
most cars, Casey, have a license plate mount that screws onto the bumper if you're in a state where you need a license plate.
Yeah,
There's
but it
knockouts
drills,
or
it
something.
screws through the bumper is what
It does.
Casey's saying.
Right.
Yeah, you
But
got the
there's no
dimples, and the
knockouts for them that
dimples
are
go through.
paint
No,
matched.
there's
Little
So
dimples that
that's horrible.
Screw
Nothing.
it.
They don't even know where they're supposed to go. Like Mark was telling us about, or Patrick was telling us about his friend that the Tesla made him sign a waiver because it was one of the first ones they did. They didn't know where
Yeah,
to
one
put
of
it.
the first ones, they went to the service center to put the plate on, and he had to sign a waiver so they could drill into the bumper because they didn't know if they would damage one of the sensors when they put the front plate on.
Yeah,
That's how new it was.
Wow.
right.
Wow.
Because the Model Y, the Model 3, and the Model S, the new Model S without the black oval nose cone, they all have an adhesive mount. So you just peel and stick, and then you screw the plate to that. But the Model X, permanent.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
Well, that's how every other car is. I mean, every other car you screw into the bumper if you're in a state that needs a plate, and if you're not, you just leave it off.
Yeah, so they either have the dimples or they have actual threaded bolts, so you can take it off again when you move out of
Right.
backward
That's
state that requires
there's little plastic plugs or knockout, that
Right.
come out,
Yeah.
and then you put the bolt into the little mount, and you mount the
That way it doesn't damage anything.
But-
I like California's method and Ohio's method. Ohio just rescinded the front plate, and California lets you get a replica of your plate as a vinyl wrap with the retroreflective tape on the front of it, and then they'll allow that. That's new though.
Paul Guzik, shout outs.
I got nothing other than
New cars?
I want to go home.
I'm with you there. I'm with you. So if you're on the Front Range, visit Paul at boulderhc.com or boulderh.com if you want to buy a used EV or hybrid.
He's got some great specials.
I got a surprisingly nice car to drive. I don't know how reliable it will be, but a Lincoln MKZ hybrid. It's actually a beautiful
Nice.
car.
Those are fun.
You seem like a Lincoln kind of guy.
Yeah.
No, I see you in the van again.
Yeah.
That's how I see you.
Rude.
Tony Schaefer, save me.
If you want to read all the news we're reading, make sure you check us out online. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/whatdrivesus. Make sure you subscribe. What is it in Facebook? You subscribe, you like, you do whatever, and you will get all of our posts that Patrick Connor does such a great job of making sure that the posts are being put out there. Leave us comments, suggest news items, or whatever. And if you use Flipboard as a news aggregator, be sure to subscribe to the What Drives Us magazine. Philip Barclay and I put articles up there. I always try to put a couple articles up a day. So there's always something new going on up there. Also, as we said, if you haven't yet liked and, like the video, do that. If you haven't subscribed to the show, what are you waiting for? And I don't know, that's it.
That's all you got, Tony?
That's all I got.
Okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
You're allowed.
Shout out
Thank
to
you.
all our audio listeners.
Hey.
Shout out.
Oh, you didn't see me with the thumbs up, but hey.
They're
Hey. I'm
That wasn't your
waving.
thumb, Russell.
not seeing the wave either,
I'm
Russell.
not seeing the wave. Damn it. I did it like by the mic thinking, no, they're not going to hear it. They're not going to interpret that correctly. As always, I want to thank Michael Mannering for our amazing theme music. Visit him at manthing.com. I also want to point out that we are deep in the midst of an incredibly important fundraiser, which you can find at the top of our Google page, at the top of our Twitter page or Facebook page. If you can throw $1 or $2 our way, please do. Thank you very much. I want to thank Paul Guzik, Georgia McKenzie, Tony Schaefer, Casey Green, and Mark Coughlin. I read their names off the screen because that's the kind of host that I am. Very much for a great show. I want to thank all of you for tuning in and watching. Download us next week and find out what drives us. See you later.